I'm Brad Beckman with the Lakes News Now. In an odd chain of events, the Camden County Republican Committee met Monday night to discuss who they wanted to recommend for the open positions of County Auditor and County Collector. Before calling the meeting to order, committee members met around a table to discuss how to proceed because of the large crowd in the courtroom. They then called the meeting to order and held a vote to ban the public from recording any of it. After the vote, they sent those running for the position of County Auditor to the hallway, bringing them back inside one at a time to essentially be interviewed by the committee members, during which time the public was not allowed to speak. 4 people put their names in for County Auditor: Michael Dorff, Jimmy Laughlin, Karen Clopton, and Chris Franken. Following the auditor interviews was the interviews for Collector, which Nathan Williams, Teresa Murray, and Committee Chairman Brent Salzman are in the running for. Salzman had recused himself from being chairman for the meeting, but not from voting. The committee then voted to go into a closed session, forcing the public to leave before they voted. At this time, who the committee voted for is unknown. As construction continues at the ballparks of the Ozarks, they've begun reaching out to lake area businesses for advertising. Numerous businesses have joined to display advertisement at the ballpark, including Lake Regional and Captain Ron's. CEO Jeff Fernetti calls the community response gratifying. He also says the enthusiasm from so many for the ballpark is exciting, and he hopes the support continues. The project, located just west of Camdenton along Highway 54, will host tournaments for children ages 8 to 14 and will include batting cages, concessions, and a full-service bar. As of right now, however, they say they don't have a ribbon-cutting date set yet because of recent setbacks caused by the rain. If you see news, call 317-TALK.
This news brought to you by Lake Detail in Camdenton. Attention owners of RVs, motorhomes, and campers. Lake Detail now offers cleaning and waxing of fifth wheels, travel trailers, and motorhomes with the same great quality that made them very successful for their vehicle detail services over the years. For an appointment, get in touch with Adam by calling 346-2006. Stop by 269 North Business Route 5, just north of the square in Camdenton. Remember that Lake Detail also replaces auto and truck glass and offers chip repair too. LakeDetail.com or 346-2006.
I'm meteorologist Michael Carroll with your News Talk KRMS Weather Eye Forecast. A good deal of sunshine in the forecast for today, with high temperatures pushing up into the lower 80s. Then for tonight, mostly clear skies dropping to a low of 57. For your Wednesday, that stretch of sunny weather continues, upper 70s, and for Thursday, 79. The current water temperature, brought to you by Captain Ron's Bar and Grill, home of the Shootout, is 77, and the temperature at the studios is, right now, it's 71.
Not available in all states.
Hey, you two, what brings you to the mall?
We're just here checking on our robot.
Your robot?
Yeah, our recent Irvy's Froyo robot. Diane and I became franchisees last month.
And couldn't be happier. It serves premier frozen yogurt creations to customers in 60 seconds, and the yogurt is delicious.
Yep, our customers absolutely love it. That's it over there.
Whoa, that's incredible. People really do love your Froyo robot. So, you own this?
Sure do. Reese and Irvy's Froyo robots are available across the country, and it's super easy. Reese and Irvy's provided us with everything we needed. They even help you secure amazing locations. Movie theaters, grocery stores, college campuses, theme parks. They make any location a sensation.
And everyone loves frozen yogurt. That's incredible. How do I get a Froyo robot of my own?
You just go to froyofranchising.com and enter promo code 9595. But hurry, because locations and robots are going fast.
Froyo.
Yeah, froyofranchising.com. Promo code 9595.
Joseph Cook from JJ's at the Copper Pot talks about fine dining at the lake.
JJ's has been slow roasting prime rib and hand battering lobster tails since 2009 on the west side. We've grown to offer fresh fish, exotic game, and an internationally inspired dining experience. It's a little bit of a drive, but you'll find the one and the only JJ's at the Copper Pot off Highway 5 in Laurie. 374-8077.
Student loan debt has now surpassed credit card debt. In fact, the average student loan debt is about $48,000. If you have student loan debt, whether from the government or a private lender, you must check out SoFi. Just go to trysofi.com to see how easily you can consolidate all your loans into one simple payment that will save you thousands and pay off your debt faster. Can you believe that most people with student loan debt have never considered refinancing their student loans? Go to trysofi.com. That's trysofi.com from your phone, your tablet, or or computer, and in less than 2 minutes, you'll know how much you can save. SoFi has a 5-star rating with Student Loan Hero, so you know you can trust them. Go to trysofi.com. That's TRYSOFI.com, and once you qualify, you'll get instant access to career coaching, network events, and great customer service. It takes less than a couple of minutes. It won't impact your credit score, and there's absolutely no obligation. Go to trysofi.com. That's TRYSOFI.com. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS number 1121636.
But I like to get to know you. Yes, I would.
The West Side Social is the only weekly networking social at Lake of the Ozarks, approaching its 8th year of building business. The West Side Social at JJ's at the Copper Pot is the best place to have fun and pass referrals. This week's sponsor is Seal Once, KC. Enjoy complimentary gourmet hors d'oeuvres. Get to know some great people, and there's no dues to pay. See you at JJ's at the Copper Pot Thursday starting at 5. Brought to you by KRMS and 93.5 Rocks.
This hour of the Morning Magazine is sponsored by Relocating to the Lake, a luxury publication offering an insight into everything the Lake of the Ozarks has to offer.
The views expressed during this program are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Viper Broadcasting. Please limit your calls to 1 per hour. Live from Studio C, it's the KRMS Morning Magazine. Your phone calls are welcome at 573-302-7000 or call toll-free 1-866-372-1270. Now, here's hour number 1 of the KRMS Morning Magazine on News Talk 1150, KRMS, and 97.5 KRMS FM.
9:09 is our time. Good morning. It is the KRMS Morning Magazine for this 6th day of June 2017. Don't know how many of you remember it or not, or take the time to at least check your history. It was on this date in 1944. The D-Day invasion took place during World War II as Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy in France. Didn't really hear much about it in the news. I don't know if anybody's really taken the time to reflect on this invasion, what it meant, certainly in the European theater, as far as World War II is concerned. But if you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs looking for something to do, look up D-Day and take a little time to reflect. A lot of people died on those beaches. Wonder if any of the History channels are planning any type of programming that takes a look at D-Day. It would certainly be nice for folks to be able to check that out. Maybe the kids could sit down and watch about an hour or so of some history-related programming on D-Day. 9:11 is our time. Quick check of the in-studio Doppler weather radar. It is sponsored by Hewlett, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, your Lake area dealer for 3 generations. You will find them online at shophewlett.com on Land North Business Route 5 in Camdenton. And as we take a look at our WeatherTap.com Radar Lab HD, a different version of it, if you will. Miller, Morgan, and Camden counties are looking good. The state of Missouri looks good. Still tracking some activity as it moves through portions of central and into eastern Nebraska, which is actually starting to lose its punch as it continues on in a southeasterly direction. Also, let's see, 71 degrees, looking for a high today of about 79, a low of 57. It is going to be a beautiful day at the lake. And actually, we have a string of beautiful days headed our way today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll start to feel the increase in the temperature by Friday. And then definitely on Saturday, and a high close to 90 degrees. I would expect it's probably going to make it up to 90 degrees on Sunday. It says 88 for the high, but I think we'll push a little closer to 90 and maybe even a little bit more in some instances. And now is the time. Now is the time to start taking precautions for when it gets really, really hot. Do yourself a favor while we have some comfortable weather and you're sitting around enjoying the scenery and the beauty here at the Lake of the Ozarks. Take some time to prepare for hot weather. Get yourself a fan, talk to your friends and neighbors, and maybe see if there's anybody in the neighborhood that could use a fan. Or if you have some folks who would benefit from maybe just coming over and hanging out in the AC with you for a while. It's up to you, whatever you choose to do. But when the hot weather hits and everybody's running around going crazy, oh, it's so hot, I wish it was winter. Take the time to prepare now so that you're ready when it hits. And probably a good idea to take a good look if you have central heat, central air, even an AC unit in a window, to have somebody come out and take a look at that for you to make sure it's up and running, up to snuff. A little preventative maintenance now goes a long way, especially when the summer heat and humidity comes to visit here throughout the state of Missouri. 9:13 is our time. Let's start our cavalcade of phone calls. I've got a topic we're going to bring up, and I've already got some people chiming in on it, and I already think that there are probably going to be some people that call in regard to the meeting that was held at the Camden County Courthouse last night. Some folks I know that were in attendance, and we'll discuss the meeting and what it was all about. 9:14, but first, let's take a phone call. Caller, good morning. You're on KRMS.
Well, here we go, KB.
Here we are, sir.
Well, I reflect on World War II.
Mm-hmm.
My dad went to Normandy. I had some old guys that were over in the Pacific Theater,
Mm-hmm.
I don't buy Volkswagens, and I don't buy Toyotas. So that's just pretty much what I got to say. Read between the lines on that one.
I see, sir. Thank you for the phone call this morning.
I'll see you.
Have a wonderful day. 9:14. I don't buy Volkswagens and I don't buy Toyotas. But unfortunately, I would imagine there's probably a number of products in your home that you aren't even aware are made in Germany or Japan. A lot of things, I'm sure, made in China. And where is that going? What is that all about? Let's see here. 9:15 is our time. So there was a meeting last night at the Camden County Courthouse, and we put the word out to, I put a post on Facebook, anybody that was there that would like to call and talk about it, what they saw and what they heard. And we have had a couple of folks calling in already, well, actually calling my phone and leaving a couple of messages on Facebook for me and some emails, which we will get to. But let's go back to the phones. Caller, good morning. You're on KRMS.
Hi, good morning.
Hi there. What's up?
I was at the meeting last night, and what the meeting was for, it was the Republican Central Committee, which they're elected, each township elects 2 committee members, a male and a female. And so that those members all had a meeting last night because there are 2 vacant or seats that are vacant now, the county auditor and the county collector. And so the issue becomes there has to be a recommendation, I believe by statute, from that Republican Central Committee.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the chairman of the Republican Central Committee was also one of the people who put in to be the collector of Camden County.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very beginning of the meeting, the room is packed with people who, thanks to you guys, got the word out and let people know there was going to be a meeting. So the room was packed with Camden County citizens and voters. And at the very beginning of the meeting, the chairman, which also is the guy who wants to be the collector, Brent Salzman, they call all the committee to the front of the room. He's sitting at the table, and the rest of the committee gathers around at his bequest. I mean, he brings them in.
Mm-hmm.
And we were told he's telling them they have the right to clear the room. They have the right to close the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have video of the vice chair, which her name is Judy Taylor, basically telling the room that she can kick us out, that she can tell us all to leave. And Cody from the Lake Sun, he reminds her of what the Sunshine Law says. You can't do this. This is an open meeting. This is a government meeting. You're not hiring, firing. You're only making a recommendation. We have the right to be there. Well, first of all, the meeting was never posted as a public meeting, which it should have been because it's a government meeting. Secondly, they can't close it off to the public. They made a quick motion and vote not to let anybody record the meeting. They tried to kick us out, but there were a couple of committee members, John Beckett and Ernie Calvert, that voted and seconded to let the people stay. And so we did stay in the meeting. However, I think it's interesting that Brent Salzman did vote for himself I mean, they made a motion. He ended up voting for himself to be the new collector, as the chairman of the committee also. So I think it was a display that I think, and Chris Franken, the other part was Chris Franken, who was voted out as the presiding commissioner. He wants to be our auditor, our county auditor. And I think it's particularly interesting that one question that was submitted to him was, after he lost the primary election, the attendance, you can check the attendance in the county clerk's office. He rarely showed up for the 5 months after he lost his election, yet he took a paycheck from the citizens of Camden County, but very rarely was ever there, if ever.
Mm-hmm.
And so when one of the committee members asked him, if you were to run again for the auditor's position and lose, will you not show up for 5 months and still collect a check? And it was so interesting because in front of the whole room of people, what he did was he told everyone that he did that because Commissioner Bev Thomas asked him not to come to the courthouse because there was too much controversy. So out of respect for Bev Thomas, who is our commissioner, 2nd District, which it was really unfair to throw Bev under the bus, like make it her fault that he didn't show up for 5 months. But he sat there and told the entire room that the reason he didn't show up for 5 months was because Bev Thomas asked him not to. However, he was sitting there asking for the recommendation of the Central Committee to be our next county auditor. And it was also super interesting. The other gal who wants to be the collector, her name is Teresa Murray. She's been in the collector's office for 22 years. The support in the room was overwhelming. The gals in the office that worked for her were there in mass. I mean, very enthusiastic about her, which is such a huge vote of confidence. And I just pray that people who are listening today, if you reach out to the governor's office and let them know, who you don't want, who you do want, we should have had more of a stake in this. We should have had more of a say in this. It should have been something where people knew that they could reach out to their Central Committee members in their townships. But I hope people understand that very rarely does the Central Committee do much. But we got to vote these people out that don't want meetings to be public. We have to vote them out and vote people in that will represent us, even though we may not need representation much. In times like this, we did last night. And like I said, we have video of the beginning of the meeting and how hostile it was. I'll maybe post it on your Facebook page, KB, on KRMS's Facebook page, so people can see how we were treated. Because, it's but they wouldn't let us video or record after that. But I think that prior to the vote, a lot of us took video of what was going on. And I think it's super important because if we want transparent government and it to be about the people and not the good old boys network, we have to get engaged and involved. And unfortunately, nobody even knew there was a meeting last night. And so not very many people did, but thanks to you guys, there were several that showed up. Mm-hmm. But it was just the reason Camden County politics is considered dirty, in my opinion, is what we witnessed last night. It was because of the things like we witnessed last night. If we want the courthouse to be cleaned up, we've got to clean up the way things are handled.
Why do you think they didn't want anybody to record anything? I mean, other than the only thing I can think of is maybe they didn't want something taken out of context and used to make it sound like things were really, really bad. I did hear of someone, some woman, and I don't know her name. Somebody said that she was extremely rude. Apparently, there was someone from the local newspaper that was either asked to leave or threatened with being kicked out. And I don't understand that, but they do, and I've got a couple of different emails. I'm going to share those here in just a bit, but I can't understand what people would have to lose by allowing people to record the event and just, keep everything on the up and up, or at least people could watch it and find out what they missed.
I think that's a great point. And to me, if you have nothing to hide, by all means you want it recorded. So, for posterity, nothing gets taken out of context when people can watch it for themselves. Things get taken out of context when you can't see or hear what really went on. So to me, if it's on the up and up, first of all, you don't try to kick everybody out of the meeting. Cody at the Lake Sun did a fabulous job of reminding the committee chair and vice chair of what an open meeting should be, and it did get hostile. The vice chair was very rude, and we have video of that so people can make their own judgment. They were very rude with him and did threaten to kick him out. And so it was, again, if you have nothing to hide, then you want it videoed, you want it recorded. And that was what was so strange, is just the hostility that we were greeted with and the fact that we were not welcome in that meeting. And for whatever reason, if it's really transparent and it's about the people, you welcome them into the process. But that was certainly not what we walked into last night. And I hope others call in that were there. There were good questions asked by committee members. Every candidate for those positions came in with their recommendations, and they were interviewed by the committee. And that part was a good thing, because every committee member was allowed to ask questions, and, we heard how everyone responded, and it was a good thing that we sat there and we listened. But, at the same time, if people were recommended that did not do well, it'll cause a lot of question, because there were clearly people that were more qualified than others. Mm-hmm. And but the whole public got to hear it. You said that there was somebody that ran or was on the committee that is actually running for the position. The chairman of the committee is Brent Salzman. Is that legal? I don't know. I mean, I guess he voted for himself, and that's how they set it up in the beginning of the meeting, is to make sure that he would be allowed to vote for himself. And his wife actually is a member of the committee also, and clearly voted for him as well. And now, how's that possible? If he's on the committee and she's on the committee, what do they call that, nepotism or something like that? Or? Well, I mean, again, I don't know logistically. I don't know how statute addresses that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But he never recused himself from the meeting, and then many times he'd walk up and talk, to Judy Taylor, the lady, when it came time for him to step out as a collector, because he did step out when the other candidate for collector was being interviewed. But that was the only time he stepped out. And then they kicked everybody in the room out of the meeting when it came time to vote, which is also, I think, a clear violation of the Sunshine Law. Because the Sunshine Law says employees, if you're having conversations about personnel, whether it be disciplinary, hiring, firing, this was none of that. This was a recommendation for an elected position in the county. Yet they took full liberty to kick everybody in the room out, of their voting proceedings. And then nobody knew how the vote came out last night, because they withheld, and they wouldn't tell anybody what the vote count was. Well, it's very interesting. I appreciate your phone call this morning, and I'm sure we'll thank you so much. We'll have some more input on this from people listening, people that were in attendance last night. I need to take my first break. It's 9:26. I see you there on the phone lines, callers. You can stick with me through the break or join me on the other side. It's the Morning Magazine on KRMS.
Commitment to quality. That's why Renner Supply Garage Doors has been serving the Midwest for more than half a century. Renner Supply carries Delden Garage Doors and LiftMaster openers, providing sales, installation, service, and repair on over 3,000 styles of garage doors throughout the entire state of Missouri. And Delden Garage Doors are made right here in the United States. Experience the quality of Delden Garage Doors from Renner Supply. Experience the Delden difference on Old Route 5 in Camdenton or online at rennersupply.com.
The Golf, Grape, and Grub Radio Show is now sponsored by Shawnee Bluff Winery and Vineyard. Listen in each Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. here on News Talk KRMS. Shawnee Bluff Winery is open every day on Bagnell Dam Boulevard in Lake Ozark.
It's Friday night and you wake up sweating profusely. You slide out of bed to check the thermostat and something is definitely wrong. Might as well sleep in your swimsuit because it looks like you're going to suffer through it till Monday. Actually, leave the swimsuit for swimming. B&B Heating and Cooling is available 7 days a week. So in the event that you wake up on the weekend burning up, you can get back to feeling just right faster. bbhvac.com.
Just right never felt so good. B&B Heating and Cooling.
Furniture Showrooms by JC Mattress in Osage Beach is celebrating its 90th year of being in business. Incredible on-the-spot discounts on bedrooms, living rooms, coffee tables, end tables, recliners, sofas, love seats, sofa chairs, and accessories, all at bargain closeout prices. Hurry in for huge savings on your favorite name brands, along with same-day delivery. That's instant on-the-spot savings at the 90th anniversary celebration event going on now at Furniture Showrooms by JC Mattress in Osage Beach. See store for details.
Are you a skilled electrician looking for a change? Then Catalyst Electric wants to talk to you. Catalyst is now hiring experienced electricians who can provide superior electrical services to their Lake area customers. Join the Catalyst Electric team. Call 573-552-8488.
Find out what's new at the lake. Download the Fun Lake apps to stay connected as a first-time visitor or long-time resident. Where to dine, where to stay, where to play. Search by location or interest. Stay connected to what's new at the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks with your Fun Lake apps.
But I'd like to get to know you. Yes, I would.
The West Side Social is the only weekly networking social at Lake of the Ozarks, approaching its 8th year of building business. The West Side Social at JJ's at the Copper Pot is the best place to have fun and pass referrals. This week's sponsor is Seal Once, KC. Enjoy complimentary gourmet hors d'oeuvres. Get to know some great people, and there's no dues to pay. See you at JJ's at the Copper Pot Thursday starting at 5. Brought to you by KRMS and 93.5 Rocks.
Accusations against President Trump for association to Russia.
Our country has a crisis in confidence going on.
The Ozarks Today. News Talk KRMS.
9:29 is our time. Before we go back to the phones, I want to read a couple of emails. One says, I detect a little editorializing in the news item about the Camden County Republican Committee's meeting held last night. It is the duty of the committee to select an individual to fill a vacancy in county office and recommend them to the governor. The county committees of any party can run their process however they so choose. It says, I applaud them for doing the interview process in front of attendees. Also, another email here, it says, it was obvious that the meeting was designed to promote two people, Salzman and Franken. Many members of the Central Committee did not know about the meeting until last Thursday. Judy Taylor, who ran the meeting, was incredibly rude. I did not understand why the committee didn't at least take written questions from the audience. Franken was asked why he walked off the job in late 2014 when he lost the election. His answer was that Bev Thomas asked him not to attend meetings. Well, you know, the one thing, based on the past, and we talk about government, and sometimes, maybe people could do themselves a favor by just opening up the meeting, allowing things to be recorded, or what have you. I mean, it would seem to me like there are a number of different areas where maybe things could have been done differently, and the desired effect would have had, less of an impact on the general public. Maybe the folks weren't expecting such the turnout that was received last night. Also, again, if they have the right to do things, they can run their process however they so choose. Well, and maybe they can tell people that you're not recording any of this. Maybe they can ask people to leave. But I would, again, think that maybe something along the lines of just making sure that things were done open and that people understood the process and why. And maybe that was a large part of the confusion as well. People that showed up to attend the meeting didn't really know everything that was going on. 932, caller, thanks for holding here on KRMS. Good morning.
Yes, well, I think that was a young lady named Stacy, and thank God for her. I've lived here for a long, long time, and it just seems like we can never get rid of the good old boys system. Mm-hmm. And I think we are going to get rid of it in Washington, D.C., and surely we can get it cleaned up here locally.
All right, thanks for your phone call this morning. Caller, thanks for holding here on KRMS. Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
I was at that meeting last night, and I really wasn't impressed. I thought it was supposed to be for the citizens to let the committee know who they would approve and who they would want. And every time they would have the open up for questions for the candidate, they would, at the end, Judy Taylor would say, "Did you bring anyone with you to speak in support?" Mm-hmm. Well, that made me feel like, and I know that everybody else, that we didn't really have a right to say anything or ask a question or anything. So there was, unless the candidate specifically had someone to speak, everybody in that room just really wasn't given an opportunity to voice any opinion. It almost felt like there should have been a sign that said, "Enter, shut up, sit down," and that was it. And I wasn't impressed. I know that I walked out of there knowing that the citizens were probably not represented. The committee members were represented, but the citizens that were there were not. And I was extremely disgusted how they treated the media. Mm-hmm. Whether we agree with the media or not, whether we like what they print or say or not, they're still a public service for us. It is a way for us to know what's going on and get people talking about things. And when you try to shut down the media, basically what you're doing is you're shutting down the citizens. And that's wrong. And that's what they really were trying to do, is control the narrative, control everything. And you don't say anything, sit down. We don't want to hear from you. And that's exactly what happened.
All right. Thank you for your phone call. Let's go back to the phones here this morning. Caller, good morning. You're on KRMS.
Good morning.
Hello.
I attended that meeting as well, and I would like to thank Stacy Shore as well. I think that she brought about a lot of good points. The lady that they talked about was extremely rude. She started out the meeting rude. Then, right towards the end of it, she made a comment that the public had really done well. And then she turns around when she goes into closed meeting shortly after that and tells us that they're going into closed meeting, and if we don't like it, we can suck air. Now, why do we, I agree with the last caller, why did it have to be like that? Whether they believe, they said, just like your email said, that they feel that, they have the right to do it how they want. Now, I just got exposed to this committee, so I don't really know the legalities. But I didn't understand why there was such hostility. I had never met these people. I've met a few of them, but that lady I'd never met. So, I was disappointed. One of the things that I haven't heard as of yet that I would like to bring the point up is when they went into the part where they were getting ready to do the interviews of the candidates, they were directing the other committee members to only talk about good things about the candidate. They also talked about how they had just found out about all this themselves and had such a short time to look into it. So nobody had any time to research this. Now, Chris Franken was brought up and his attendance, and there was also an investigation that we never got the results for. There was a few negative things. I would think that would be important in making a decision. Politics is not just positive and flowers. We need to know everything about, and they need to, even if they were going to exclude the public, the committee members, I would think, need to know everything about these candidates, not just the good things, and base a recommendation to our governor on only a certain side of things. So that's what I've got to say. Hopefully I'm going to look into this more. It sounds like others are too. We need to make this different.
All right. Thank you for your phone call this morning. 9:36. Let's take another phone call. Caller, are you still there? You're on KRMS. Good morning.
Good morning, KB. In the past, before I moved to the lake, I was an elected member of the Democrat Committee in Christian County, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I was elected by the people of the county, so I have the people who voted for me in the Democrat Party, okay? So I'm on this committee. I'm elected to this committee, and we have a meeting. Not a lot of people showed up. They would show up and have their input. But as a committee member, I'm elected by the people of the Democrat Party, and I represent the people who elected me in my district. And I vote how they, would like me to vote. So that's all kind of settled before you go into the committee meetings, okay? So there's people attending the committee meetings. That's not really the function. The function of the committee meeting is to spend money and who to support. between the members, and the members will have to second. I make a proposal and another member would make a second. But pretty much everything's settled before you go into these meetings. They're a lot more. They're not like going to a county council meeting or something like that. It's a little different. Or a county commission meeting or something like that. It's more of a private party meeting. And having people come in from the outside's fine. But usually we're on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. The Republican Party would have similar meetings. They'd have the Republican agenda, and they'd have their agenda set up by the people they represent in their wards or precincts, and that's what committee members represent. So all this people coming in and stuff like that's fine and dandy, but it's just it's an officiating body for the party, basically. I don't know. These guys are making a big deal out of this, but it's really a low level, just a party meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like they're going to the county commission, which. I don't know. It's just the committee members represent the people of the ward and the precinct. So when they go into the meetings, it's all kind of done.
So is it maybe a question of whether or not the people of the wards or the precincts that these people represent?
People of the wards and the precincts elect the committee member. If they are not happy with that committee member, the people in that ward and precinct or whatever their division is can get rid of that person. They can go file at the county clerk's office.
And I understand
run
that
for
part.
Office.
The question I want to ask you is
there a vacancy?
No, the question I want to ask you is the people who voted them in, if they have input, should they be allowed to talk to that member of the committee and put forth their thoughts and their ideas who they feel is the best candidate for the job?
Yes, each people in that ward should talk to their committee member individually that represents them.
Right.
That's how that process works. And if they're not happy with that committee member, and when election time comes, they can reelect another one. Now, if sounds like they're filling a vacancy for somebody who might have, because it's not an election cycle, so somebody might have dropped out of the committee and they're refilling that position, and that's well within the rights of the committee to do privately. I mean, it's not like they're controlling only the party. So, and they're elected officials by people in the party. So you have to literally vote Republican or you have to vote Democrat to vote for these people. And Missouri's a free state, so where you could be one party one week and you could be another party the next.
Well, and then I guess here what I'm thinking or what my brain is trying to tell me here is that maybe these people that elected these people to the committee wanted a little bit more input, and maybe they didn't get that input, or they the committee didn't necessarily take the time to talk to the people that put them there and say, well, who do you feel is the best candidate for the job? And maybe that's where a lot of this is coming from, people who thought, well, we elected you to represent us, and at the same time, we still have a voice, so...
Right. When people ignore an elected official, or when an elected official ignores the people that they represent, there's dire consequences. Usually they don't become an elected official any longer.
Right.
And that person's replaced. Now, that's how you do that. And usually you can just walk up to the county clerk's office, just sign your name on a piece of paper, because those offices are never contested, okay? I'm telling you that right now from fact. At least in Christian County, you can walk right in and sign your name on the paper. Nobody else will be on the ballot.
Right.
Okay, it's way down on the ballot.
Very good, sir. Well, I appreciate the phone call this morning. 9:41 is our time. I've got to take another break. Callers, I see you there. You can stick with me through the break or call me on the other side. It's the Morning Magazine on KRMS.
If your nonprofit, club, group, or civic organization has an event it would like to have announced on KRMS and 93.5 Rocks, send it at least 3 weeks in advance to PSA@KRMSradio.com. The community calendar is sponsored by Tire Biters Peanut Pub, Central Missouri Building Inspections, JJ's at the Copper Pot, Mills & Sons Insurance, RJ's Family Restaurant, JW Firearms, Big Dick's Halfway Inn, Lake Collision Repair, and presented by KRMS and 93.5 Rocks the Lake.
Hi, this is Bill Lacasse from SRG Financial Advisors, located right here in Osage Beach. I am proud to be your local USA Financial Advisor, and I invite you to listen this Saturday morning to the USA Financial Headquarters Show. Each week, this informative and entertaining program answers some of the burning financial questions you've been asking me. Be sure to tune in each and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. right here on KRMS.
Chronic pain. It controls your life, takes away from time with your kids, your grandkids, your friends. You've tried everything. Pain medicine, surgery, steroids. Nothing works. Until now. Back to Life Laser Pain Center in Osage Beach is the wave of the future in pain management. With a 90% success rate, Back to Life Laser Pain Center uses a state-of-the-art robotic MLS laser therapy to make your pain vanish completely. Schedule an appointment today. Go to backtolifelaserpc.com or call 573-693-1375.
Someone told me the other day about a magazine at the lake that loves food and wine. Well, that's my kind of reading. Hi, this is Terry Eifert, and when my family and I get ready to head to our second home from Columbia, we always look to our number one source, Lake of the Ozarks Second Home Living, or SHL to those in the know. SHL is cool, an insider's guide to all those wonderful hidden gems the lake has to offer. Heck, we were reading the new Silver Spoon Awards issue and found out there really was a place at the lake that served fried oysters just like my Aunt Susan in Biloxi used to make. I also had no idea there was a Papa Chubby right across from our cousin's cove. Great food for the kids. SHL is on any coffee table we own and always on my iPad favorites to access the latest issue and the best places at the lake to please our palates. SHL Magazine is my guide to making sure nobody goes home hungry or thirsty. Anyone have any idea if the barge is still cooking pizza?
Voters are crowding town hall meetings, shouting down lawmakers and each other, looking to put the brakes on President Trump's agenda.
News Talk KRMS.
9:44. It is the morning magazine on News Talk KRMS. 73 degrees on our way to that high of around 79. A follow-up to an email we received earlier. It says, with all due respect to the first caller in the program, the meeting was not a government meeting. It was a central committee meeting, which does not fall under the Sunshine Law. I do agree with her that the chair, if running for the office, should abstain from voting. Also, don't know who the first caller was, but she was spot on about the meeting, absolutely spot on. Okay. 9:45 is our time. Caller, thanks for holding. You're on KRMS. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I think I'm going to wind up being a little bit redundant, but the central committees are private entities. The political parties are private entities, period, and they can do a lot of those things that they want to do at their whim. I think what we need to do as voters and the general public is to lobby our legislature to make them a little more accountable. Them being a public or a private entity, the taxpayers pay for these primaries and so forth that happen out there, the primary voting. So maybe we can done away with that and get into a caucus system. But unfortunately, those meetings that they have are really very very private. It's a private party. They can make their own rules and kind of do what they want to do, unfortunately.
All right. Well, thank you for the clarification. I appreciate your phone call. 9:45 is our time. Back to the phones we go. Caller, you still with us?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Now, June 22nd, this is very scary for Lynn Creek, okay? June 22nd, and this is scary to hear all this stuff about this committee out in Camden County, because this is going to be a planning and zoning issue. It's going to be turned from residential/industrial to a commercial piece of property where the Zoo Sports used to be in Lynn Creek. There's a lighting company coming in. So all of us residents are in fear that they're going to be dumping into the creek, and all that junk that they're going to be dumping into the creek will...
What junk are you talking about?
Whatever junk they have to expose lighting, all right? The creation of creating lighting fixtures and stuff, okay? This person that's trying to buy this piece of property is changing his stories left and right, or her stories. Now it's going to go to the board, seeing if he can or she can change it to a commercial spot for this place. Well, this is a floodplain for starters, and we know where flooding gets. It travels. But I'm afraid for the whole town, and even my piece of property, to be affected by whatever they're disposing of. You see what I'm saying? And then having planning and zoning, as screwed up as they are in Camden County, to okay this, to go ahead. We all signed a petition. Even the city of Lynn Creek doesn't like it. We all signed a petition stating we do not want this manufacturer to come in because of certain circumstances that might have in the near future.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about them pouring chemicals or what?
Yes.
What are we talking?
Chemicals, mercury, whatever it takes to make lighting. Glass. It's near the lake.
Mm-hmm.
It's close to the lake. It's close to the campground. It's close. It's close to the soccer field where kids will play. They're changing a lot of stories to where I couldn't even keep it straight right now of what they really want to do with that piece of property. And from what I heard, which is really disheartening, but she lives near it too, so I would not know why this lady would want to be a real estate agent for this piece of property. And I'm not stating a name. I can't. She's a friend of mine. Anyway. And I never asked her, and I don't want to get involved with that issue. I think it has to do with her real estate company she works with.
All right. Thank you for the phone call. 9:49 is our time. Lots of folks chiming in this morning, and we're learning a little bit more about caller, our listener rather, emails. Does anyone see parallels between the Tri-County Lodging Association Expedia closed meeting and last night's Republican fiasco? One of the listeners asking that particular question. 9:49, almost 9:50. Got another break to take. We'll take that for you here in a minute. Also, another topic that I wanted to touch on. We were talking yesterday with Derek Bronner. He is with Smith Moore and Company. We talked to those folks on Monday mornings, talking a little bit about the Fed and possibly raising the interest rate, I guess maybe another quarter point. We've talked about this for quite some time. But the Fed itself, is the Fed in the crosshairs of the president? Well, President Donald Trump appearing ready to remake the Federal Reserve in an image that will be considerably different than what investors have known for years. The president is prepared to nominate Randall Quarles and Marvin Goodfriend to 2 of 3 vacancies at the central bank. According to multiple press accounts that have not been disputed by the administration, Quarles likely would assume the role vacated by Daniel Tarullo to oversee the nation's banking system. White House officials did not respond to a CNBC request for comment. Should Trump nominate the 2 men and they receive confirmation, it will represent the first steps in a possible substantial remaking of the Fed, of a Fed that has practiced ultra-loose monetary policy for the past decade, but has been tight on banking regulations. I guess they mean printing all that money as the ultra-loose monetary policy. Trump will have the opportunity to name one more person now, then can fill 2 even more critical vacancies in 2018, that of Chair Janet Yellen and Vice Chair Stanley Fischer. If the Quarles and Goodfriend moves are indicators of what's to come, things could start getting less comfortable for Yellen. Both are considered solidly conservative, in line with the Republican president and Congress, but perhaps not Yellen. Clearly, these appointees are a significant departure from the crowd that we have had on board, said Christopher Whalen, head of Whalen Global Advisors and a former investment banker and longtime financial analyst. Yellen is probably the most left-wing Fed chair we've ever had. I also think both Quarles and Goodfriend have much better grounding in the financial markets. That would be refreshing. Yellen, however, may not think so, particularly if the coalition she has carefully crafted since taking the chair seat in 2014 starts to unravel. I welcome these additions, Whalen said. Hopefully they put a banker in the 3rd slot. Then eventually Yellen's going to leave because she's going to start losing votes. Quarles currently heads a private investment firm called the Sinosure Group, but has a background in regulation and policy. He served as Undersecretary of the Treasury for former President George W. Bush and has spoken and written about regulation and market-related issues often in the past. A Sinosure official declined comment on the possible nomination and said Quarles was not available. As for Goodfriend, he's known as a heavyweight conservative economist, said Krishna Gua, economist at Elvacor ISI. Goodfriend is a member of the Manhattan Institute's Shadow Open Market Committee, where he was questioned the Fed's commitment to price stability. It says here, but being that Goodfriend is known to be a fan of the easing programs the Fed instituted to spark the economy, is skeptical of the central bank's plan to roll off its $4.5 trillion bond portfolio and is likely to favor a rules-based approach to setting policy that could set up further conflicts. Goodfriend did not respond to a request for comment. It says, interestingly, these nominations would not, on the face of it, be consistent with the notion that Trump will seek to foster lower rates and a weaker dollar by nominating doves. Gua said in a research note, whether this is a strategic choice or an unintended consequence at a time when the administration is consumed by multiple dramas is hard to tell at this juncture. Indeed, the appointments come at a critical time for the Fed. What do you think that means if these two, Quarles and Goodfriend, end up getting nominated or end up getting on with the Fed? The Federal Open Market Committee is in the early stages of a rate hiking program set to normalize policy after the extremes from the financial crisis. In addition, officials in coming days will be rolling out a plan to unwind the bond portfolio, often referred to as the Fed's balance sheet. Some folks say do away with the Fed, but can you really do away with the Fed at this point? 9:54 is our time. We will take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, time permitting, we'll squeeze in some more phone calls from you, and yes, we'll even get to a second hour of the KRMS Morning Magazine. It's a ticked-off Tuesday. Whatever you want to talk about, it's all fair game. You are listening to News Talk KRMS.
This hour of the Morning Magazine is sponsored by Relocating to the Lake, a luxury publication offering an insight into everything the Lake of the Ozarks has to offer.
It's Friday night and you wake up sweating profusely. You slide out of bed to check the thermostat and something is definitely wrong. Might as well sleep in your swimsuit because it looks like you're going to suffer through it till Monday. Actually, leave the swimsuit for swimming. B&B Heating and Cooling is available 7 days a week. So in the event that you wake up on the weekend burning up, you can get back to feeling just right faster. bbhvac.com.
Just right, never felt so good. B&B Heating and Cooling.
This is Steve Visiak. It's time to play ball. Unbelievable! And the Kansas City Royals play right here. They've done it. KRMS. Listen. Let's go. Let's play ball. And it is gone. That's way back and gone. That's a base hit. Two will score. The Royals win it.
Royals Baseball is sponsored in part by Benton Biscuit Pet Resort and Spa, Prime Lending, and the Motor Hut.
If you've got aches, pains, and soreness, it could be chronic inflammation. Listen to what Dave has to say about Relief Factor.
I was in a sawmill accident and suffered with pain and discomfort for 60 years. I heard about Relief Factor and decided to order it. And in 4 days, I was walking without a limp and without pain. I am thrilled.
For more information about Relief Factor and the 2-week quick start for just $19.95, go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com.
Chuck Woolery here. Did you know that many common prescription medications cause dry mouth? You know, that thirsty, dehydrated, sticky feeling? Most dry mouth rinses leave you with a bad aftertaste and bad breath. But my favorite mouthwash, Smart Mouth, has a new all-day clean breath formula for those of us with dry mouth. That means 24-hour clean, fresh breath with twice daily use and relief from nasty, stale dry mouth. Look for Smart Mouth Dry Mouth Formula with exclusive moisture lock technology in the purple and white dual pour bottle at Walmart.
The search for missing 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas, the girl police say was kidnapped by her 50-year-old married teacher.
The Ozarks Today, News Talk KRMS.
9:57. 71 up, make it 70 up, 73 degrees. It dropped and then it jumped right back up. Mostly clear sky, beautiful day at the lake, 79 the expected high. I already have my work orders for the afternoon. Get off work, come home, cut the grass. That's kind of what we're going to do. Don't know what we're going to do for dinner tonight. What sounds good, dear, if you're listening? Throw that turkey breast in there. Maybe some frozen pizza. I don't know if you've tried the Dogtown frozen pizza. Dogtown out of the city of St. Louis, where they use that special cheese, that Provel cheese to make it. Oh, it tastes so good. If you get a chance, it's hands down the best frozen pizza I've ever had in my life. I mean, I don't know what you like, if you like a thick crust, if you like a thin crust, but this is just something to enjoy. Dogtown Pizza, you can find it in most of the grocery stores around this area. 9:58 is our time. She's saying, yes, frozen pizza. Had a couple of lovely pieces of meat last night. We were actually going to fix it on Sunday, but we decided we were just too tired, didn't feel like messing with it. So we waited, and it marinated for at least 24 hours. And it was delicious. Couple of quick thoughts here before we wrap up the hour. Gentleman wants to know, would a political committee be considered a quasi-governmental body, in which case it would be subject to the Sunshine Law? Also, on our discussion about this meeting that took place last night, it says, the point is every person in the room was a Republican. This is a fully held Republican county. This should have been open to all registered Republicans. Understand that, but apparently, and we've heard this on a couple of different occasions, that these folks can run the process however they choose. They can run the process however they choose. So I guess if they don't want people taking pictures, if they don't want people recording the meeting, or if you ask questions, they can ask you to leave. I guess it's their meeting, so they can basically do whatever they want. But again, you would think, considering all the things that have happened in the past, that you would want something like this as open and as transparent as humanly possible, so that you don't get any backlash or any negative feedback.
Your number one source for local news. News Talk 1150 KRMS Osage Beach and 97.5 KRMS FM Laurie.
10 o'clock on the Midwest Coast.
CBS News. I'm Steve Kathan. On the heels of